Welcome back, everyone, to another incredible episode of Chat with Dan here. For today, we have on the show, what can I say? I mean, we have here the incredible, the amazing, the badass, the superstar, the incredible, the legendary Shyla. Shyla, how are you today?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I mean, what better way to start up an incredible super week than to be chatting with someone as incredible as you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
There you go. Perfect start. I love it. Now, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow, helps a lot. But most important, on the description below, you're going to find all of Shyla's social media. Let's follow her, let's share some love, and let's discover why she's super badass. Now, without further more, let's jump in here, right? So I want to start this whole conversation by throwing out the first question, which is, what initially drew you to pursue acting as a career?
I think, for me, I grew up always having a curiosity. I think a lot of people do. You see Hollywood and all the crazy lifestyle and things like that, but and we all love movies and they're a big part of, our childhood and how we grow up and how we see the world and they impact us a lot. But for me, I grew up dancing a lot. I'm Ukrainian, so I did a lot of Ukrainian dance and performing and so at a young age, we did a lot of character roles. Do things like we performed with Wizard of Oz or Alice in Wonderland, different stories. So there was always a variety of characters to kind of tap into and start learning about. And I really, really enjoyed that part of the performance and performing in general is just always something that I really enjoyed. And I'm from a small town in Alberta, Canada, from Camrose, and they don't have, a lot of opportunities for any, big productions or anything. But, I thought, oh, well, that would be like really cool one day. And then I got older and in my teenage years, and I got into the modeling world. And that's how I primarily started.
Mm.
I started with an agency when I was about 15, 16. But again, being from a small town, there weren't a lot of opportunities for that either. And it wasn't until I was about 26 that I started really pursuing my fashion career and got really into that side of entertaining, I guess you could say. I did do things like big runway shows, and my first really big job was to go and do what was called the World Hair Olympics
Mhm.
in Paris and represent Team Canada for that, and that was just an unbelievable experience, and I was just pinching myself all the time. But what I didn't really realize is in the beginning of my modeling career, I was actually learning how to act a lot and having set experience and doing things like music videos and commercials and things like that. I really started to enjoy the set experience and that life. And so started doing background acting and things like that, and just getting my feet wet,
Mhm.
which I think is really important for people that want to break out into film of any kind or TV or commercial work, is to just be a background actor on something. It's pretty simple to get those kinds of roles, but it does give you that experience and help you to have that set awareness and how you can kind of go from there and figure out what you really want to do. So that was kind of my door opening into the acting field in that industry. So yeah, it didn't come from what I thought it would. I didn't even really see pursuing it as a career, to be honest. Um, I was just really enjoying my fashion career at the time, and I just had some really cool opportunities that I just you know, took advantage of, and eventually you meet people and network with people that can open a lot of doors for you. So yeah,
I love it.
kind of how
And
yeah.
yeah, I mean, here we are. Epic,
Yeah.
epic. Now tell me, how do you approach preparing for any role? What techniques or methods do you find most effective during that process?
I think there's so many like textbook techniques that do work well. But I also think it depends on who you are and your personality, how you learn, what kind of avenues of research do you go into for a character, whether it be a fictional or non-fictional character. Maybe you're portraying someone who's actually, you know, existed. But I guess for me, I really love how when you're an actor, you can have all these different, I call them, you can call them personalities or whatever. Um, but I tend to have, it's like a alter ego in a
Mm.
way that, is same in fashion industry. If I'm portraying a certain thing in a commercial or a music video, it's just like a switch that you can turn on and off. And I think for a performer, you learn how to do that quite young. You learn how to switch on and off right when you step on the stage or, the camera turns on. But in studying characters and preparing for roles, um, I'm a little bit more method, I think. I like to really see how the character lives or how they might live or how they might have conversations. I think that being in really close communication with your director or producers, and the team and other actors that will be supporting you in the role, is really important to see how they actually want the actor to portray that role. Um, but then having the creativity to make it your own too, right? So, I believe that I'm not great at memorizing stuff, by the way. That is what I have to mainly focus on a lot of the time, with my roles is really getting that down. And then sometimes directors do give you creative, leeway with certain roles too. But yeah, I would say I'm definitely more method in really trying to connect pieces of my life into what their possible could have been too.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a whole other process than just learning your lines and good to go, as some people might think, right? So
Yeah, absolutely.
that is incredible.
Yeah.
But another that you were mentioning, right? That sometimes they were, playing parts that have kind of nothing to do like with the real you, let's say. Like how
hmm
challenging can that be? When you're about to play a character that has totally nothing common in you, but you need to,
Yeah.
make it as relatable as possible. So how
Yeah.
you yeah, like what is your process on that on those roles, let's say?
Mhm. I'd say it's a big part of psychology,
Mm.
understanding why people the way they are. And if you can understand why the way they are, you understand their actions a little bit better or their mindset around certain situations. Um, Recently, this last year, I played a role of this. It was a supporting role for a independent film, and my role was being uh, the main character's neighbor's wife, and she was a very um, selfish, dominating kind of person in her marriage, and was hiding a lot from her husband, and ended up kind of sparking a lot of trouble in the relationship and in the neighborhood and things like that. And she was just very not who I am. She was very stoic, secretive, and anyone that really knows me would say that that's definitely not me. So it was really interesting to kind of just understand her and how she had this bitterness and all this different experience in her life that just made her that way, and she just didn't deal with any of it. And she repressed a lot of things, and uh, yeah, just understanding how in that situation, the directors and producers, they're okay with you just taking it as far as you want to go, and then they'll dial you back if they need to. But they really want to see how far you can take it sometimes with a character
Yeah.
and want to see you go to maybe an extreme in a way, emotionally, or in some sort of dramatic scene. And then they can scale it back. So it's
Mm.
easier to pour a little water on the fire than it is to try and build something up to become that, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
There you go. I love
yeah.
it. And tell me, like once you have the character, right? You have it, you're good to go. Now, are there any rituals or routines that you follow to getting to character, before filming or performing?
Absolutely. I think you have to be in a kind of an emotional headspace portray someone else too. And, I'm a very words of affirmation kind of person. So myself, I would write down things about the character or things the character might even just say to themselves or say about the other characters or about the scenario and kind of go through those things in my own head. And sometimes I play certain music that I feel like might really represent a character in some way. I know for my certain, like even modeling projects, some are very, intense, like no smiling, very kind of fashion sister sort of things. And I'm just not that, that's not my personality. I'm not just serious of person. So, I have to still really focus and try and get myself into like a really intense state of mind, if you could say.
Hmm. Hmm. That's
Yeah.
badass. Just saying.
Yeah.
I love it. Now, how do
Yeah.
you balance portraying a character authentically while still bringing your own unique style and personality to the role?
Hmm. And I think this is an interesting question because I kind of listen to this and go, okay, well, I also have um, kind of a writer's mindset
Mm.
too. So if I'm looking at a character and their lines and the environment and how they're interacting with other characters, um, I kind of look at like, what would I say if I was in her shoes or in this scenario? And sometimes there's a lot of directors that are just kind of like, just go with it. Like if you feel like you would respond a little bit differently, um, try it out, see what happens, see how it works. And I find that we all kind of have. I find like I have little pieces of me in almost a lot of characters that I have portrayed, and so just finding what that is and highlighting it or making it a real connection point for me, it comes through on the camera and the film
Mhm.
later on.
Okay. Okay, I'll take
Yeah.
it. I'll take
Hmm.
it. And what do you find most rewarding about being an actor, both personally and professionally?
I think I mean the experience itself is really cool. Not many people, especially from my area of the world, um, can say they were on set somewhere when they filmed this, or they're doing these theater performances, or they're in a commercial or something like that. Like it's very not really heard of around here to be in this industry. Um, and I think that it's so incredible to be pursuing something that is very exciting to you. As an entrepreneur, you know that if you're doing something that you're extremely passionate about and enjoying every day, and it's fueling your creative, you know, um, inclinations and that hunger to create and have something that, literally if someone else did my job, it would be very different from the way I do it, and that's
Yeah.
okay. But because it's me and who I am doing it, it's beautifully. So it's a very awesome feeling to have ownership over that too, and have that sense of accomplishment through it. I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. Couldn't agree more. And
Yeah.
how how do you navigate the highs and the lows of the whole, entertainment industry? But also, like what advice would you give to, aspiring actors who are
Hmm.
facing the similar challenges?
I think especially, and it's really important in the economy now, to make sure you have that safety net, especially financially. Um, and when you're starting out, yeah, you probably work whatever jobs are not even in the industry at all. Um, for myself, it was great, like I said, to start in background roles and get a feel for it and see what kinds of characters or films or projects or productions you want to be a part of. And you can still get paid and make money in those background roles or being more of a side character doing something. Um, but investing your time into yourself and creating not only who you are, but your own craft and your art and not being afraid to be rejected. You're getting a lot of rejection, even for the like smallest role, and you don't understand why. But if you're worrying about if your paycheck is going to come this month because if you do or do not get a role, that's very stressful and that's very hard on you. And you can doubt yourself very easily doing that. This last year with the writer's strike, that affected like all over North America and more, right?
Yeah.
So the industry did have, a bit of a lull there and, COVID was COVID. So I think that if you have some stability in your life, you won't be as stressed out and be clinging hard to those auditions as much. And not to say you can't shouldn't want them and work hard for them, and do your best, but make sure like you've got that safe space at the end of the day. Be
Mm.
like, I'm okay if I don't get it, but I still want to give it my all and do everything I can to get that role or to be part of this project. Um, but yeah, starting on those background characters is great. And figuring out if it's really something you want to do. You gotta sit around a lot. You get long days in film and TV and stuff. Like those are 14-hour plus days sometimes. Like, and you're not even the crew setting up and taking down at the end of the day.
Hmm.
So like it can be very, very long and you're waiting around sometimes a lot, or you're in a makeup chair for hours doing different things. Yeah, and just don't be scared to try different things either. Myself, I didn't think I would ever get into horror, or fantasy, anything. But this last year, I decided to try um, they have a big, really, really big live action haunted house here in Edmonton called Deadmonton, and it runs like every day almost for the whole Halloween season, and they have about 60 to 80 actors per night doing different roles and characters of all different movies or other sets that they've just created. And I ended up doing about 8 different characters throughout that whole just 2 months practically of the Halloween season. So I got to, do the whole crazy 3 hours of makeup or different silicone masks and things and costuming and, sounds and characters and being interactive with real people. And that's a different kind of acting.
Yeah.
You can't just cut and redo it if you want to. So that really pushed me, and I'm really glad that I just tried something that really pushed me, even though I thought I would never do it. Um, Now to say, will I do it again? I'd love to do it again. I don't know if I'll ever do a movie or film or role in any way, shape, or form, but now that I know that I can, it's really cool to know that you can do something you never thought you could.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's true. I mean, that is basically like improv in some way.
yeah, absolutely, yeah, yeah, yeah,
That is really cool. I like that. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you're just like badass, keep breaking the box.
Yeah, keep going, keep going.
This is incredible. I love it. And tell me, like, how do you stay inspired? And yeah, like, how do you stay inspired in your craft, basically?
I think always having, goals and things like that is very important. You can go through, I feel like as a creative person, you can go through a period of time where you're just exhausted because it can be very influentially taxing on you at times. And like I said, especially if other things in your life, like if you're not okay in other areas of your life, it'll spill over into your creative side.
Yeah.
So it can be a reflection of that too. For me personally, I had a very, very intense health journey in my 20s up until last couple of years. And I had multiple stomach surgeries and ended up having my stomach removed. And I was told that I was going to be on life support for the rest of my life, basically. And I wasn't eating anymore. And I was at home from 2016 till 2021, on heavy life support, basically. And um, it was very scary. I never thought that I would be able to do a lot of what I've been able to do at one
Yeah.
point. Um, and luckily, through honestly some miracle or some way, I found someone that was willing to fix my situation. And I've been off of life support now for 3 years. And I still can't even believe I can say that a lot of days.
Yeah.
So for me, that whole battle on its own is a lot that pushes me and helps me pursue things because I'm not supposed to be able to pursue these things. I'm not supposed to be able to, you know, get in my car and just go to the grocery store whenever I want or whatever it is. So for me,
Mhm.
it's like such a privilege. Now that being said, if that didn't happen, I always had a passion for this industry and for modeling and for things like that to
Mm.
create. So, um, I always looked at other people and their stories. I think stories are really powerful. And I've always wanted to help people tell their stories. And I think that has always been a huge motivator. It helps you understand others, helps you understand yourself a lot more. And just being in a relationship with people in general is really something that keeps me going and fuels me a lot. So the networking opportunities you have in this industry is just it's unbelievable. Like you are going to meet people from all walks of life, all different kinds, and you get to make something really cool together, which is kind of a really like a celebration of humanity in a way. I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Um, Yeah,
a big part of it for me.
I'm a speechless for sure. You know,
Yeah. So,
I mean, that is incredible. That is incredible. The fact that you were, like that you were able to kind of overcome that situation, and to keep. I've known, I've met like a lot of people that with something. I mean, like what I'm trying to say here is that is incredible. Yeah, that is incredible what you do, and that you are. Yeah, I mean, you just. I mean, you're on the roof right now of the whole badass level here. Let me just say, I mean, that is incredible, and yeah, wow.
yeah. And I think that people can get stuck we've all got
Yeah.
situations and traumas in our life, but if that's getting you stuck and you can't get out of your own way
Mm,
and chase things and pursue something in your life, you're going to be stuck for a very long time.
yeah.
And there are a lot of things that we have available to us nowadays that can help us mentally, emotionally. Mental health is such a huge topic in general, um, for men and women. And anyone that learns how to use that trauma or that issue in their life and use that to be why you push forward or why you do something different or why you keep trying to pursue something,
Mm,
that's where your fuel comes from, in my opinion. So, yeah.
absolutely. I used to, yeah, like some time ago, I used to be like very, like for example, if something happened, I will get stuck to it, like
Hmm.
think like very usual things that, life happens sometimes, right? So, and I will get stuck on that, and then, and not, and wasting basically most of the day or even the whole day, even on those thoughts on whatever thing happened, right?
Hmm.
But then later on, I start to discover that you only live once. You know what I mean? That you only live once. At the end, nobody will care. Nobody cares. Like, so why not enjoy it? Like why not
Yeah.
do what makes you happy, and
Yeah.
basically just do it for yourself. At the end,
Yeah.
it's your life, and I do think that everyone has the right to live it, the best way they want it. Of course,
Hmm.
without harming others, of course. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, life is too short, and what better way
Yeah.
to enjoy it and to make use of it as to be
Hmm.
doing something that that is your passion, that you're passionate about regarding if it is acting or modeling music, so
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And social media is kind of playing an interesting part in all that too, because
oh
we're
yeah,
just so available and people can see into our lives if we let them very easily. Um, so it's very easy for them to find things to pick apart too
yeah,
on you and just any insecure imperfections or assume things in our life. Or, I've had times where, and I was just starting my modeling career and I was quite sick and I was quite thin. I was probably only 95 pounds, like soaking wet. And, I would get comments from mothers that would say things like, how dare you think that you should, be portraying yourself as a symbol to young girls, that this is not healthy and all these things when they didn't understand what was
yeah,
going on. Right.
yeah.
Um, and I mean, at the end of the day, it's hard to, but you can't care about what someone thinks if you don't know that they care about you. If someone doesn't care about me, but doesn't know who I am, then I'm not going to care if they have an opinion on me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, no, yeah, it is true. I mean, at the end, I do think that, I mean, two things here. The first one, due to the whole media, of yeah, like due to the whole media, sometimes we will get the wrong idea, right? And
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
uh and and sometimes we will think that that we have the right to criticize whatever we want, right? And like specifically, like in films or music or even modeling too. But I sometimes, like when I started with this platform and then I started to discover like the whole behind the scenes, like the whole work that it takes for a single short film to be released, like things like that sometimes we will take it for granted, like, oh, I don't like it or whatever, or like things
Hmm.
like that. But like once you discover like the whole work behind it, you start to understand that maybe it wasn't good. Well, maybe because of the whole soundtrack, things happen, or the writing was not good, and that's fine. But if you don't like something, that's totally okay. But like to try to insult it, but to try to like insult that thing or to try to make yeah, like make the person who created that make them feel bad, or things like that. I think that is like a wrong idea to it. I am more to
Mhm.
it. I'm more of the idea that if I don't like something, I don't like something, and that's it. I have my reasons, good, and that's it. I'll keep it to myself. And if someone asks me,
Yeah.
sure, I will bring them, but not because I don't like something, then I'm going to destroy them, things like that. Which I do think
Yeah.
that like over this past years, people are just angrier.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. No, they become malicious and,
Yeah.
feel like they have a different agenda to bring others down. And yeah, it is what it is. That's you're gonna get that in any kind of
There you
when you're on a
go. Yeah.
platform. It's gonna happen. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's life.
Hmm.
I
Oh
do
yeah.
think that is like one of the ideas that I've been currently thinking about. Like, you can't please everyone. Yeah, you can. Somewhat like there's gonna be some people that don't like you or even hate you, sure. But that's just the
Hmm.
way it is. And it's up to you to either use your time on keep feeding those type of things, or keep
Hmm.
feeding to that, or to working on your passion, working on your craft, working on whatever that makes you happy, and
Hmm.
just go. Yeah, just go and enjoy it. As I was saying, I mean, life is too short. I mean, like the other day, I was speaking with some friends of mine, and we were like talking about like our high school days, things like that. And we were like, I can't believe that was like almost like 20 something years ago. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And we were
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh crap, like
Yeah.
like ti-
I
like
feel
like
that.
like where that time like where that time went. I want it back. And but like
Yeah.
once I was like started like to think about it, I was like, why not just enjoy everything that you can?
Hmm.
Just enjoy it,
Yeah.
make sure that you are working on something that makes you happy. Or if you want to
Hmm.
just chill and watch TV for one day or films, go for it. But make sure that
Yeah.
you are also kind of nurturing yourself. And
Hmm.
yeah, like treat yourself with love. I do think that is one thing that we have forgot as humans, that we just need to treat ourselves with love. Or yeah, treat ourselves with love,
Hmm.
know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like if I think some criticism too is that people think, well, you think you're better than someone else, or you think, you have this superiority complex. And, um, I've only ever done what I do because I wanted to prove to myself I could do it. And that was good enough for me. Like if everything in my career ended today, I would be so grateful and happy for what I've been able to do and be a part of and accomplish. Everything else is a plus to me at this
Sure.
point. I mean, and I've always thought of that personally just since coming off of life support. I was like, okay, everything's a plus now. Everything's a bonus. So, um, I was, when I first was at an agency for modeling when I was 15 or 16, they said I needed a nose job and that my hips were too big. And as a teenager, that's a really hard thing to understand or hear or understand what they're looking for or whatever. So I thought like there's a long time where I was like, I'm probably not going to be a model then if I'm just not what they're looking for. And then fast forward 10 years later, being able to be like, well, no, that's different now. And the industry is changing in stuff too, in film and fashion and whatever. That diversity and being different is
Mm.
more celebrated for sure. So I'm really glad to see a lot of that happening in the world for sure. So, but it was those comments. I was like, no, that's why I'm doing it. Not
Yeah.
to rub it in anyone's face, but to be like,
Yeah.
okay, well, they said that, but I did it anyway. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And sometimes like those comments come from people that either they don't know anything about, yeah, that they don't know anything about it. So
Mm. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it's just the way,
That's true.
it's just the way it is.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's up to you to actually take them and actually make them and actually make make them like very important to you, or just to
Hmm.
be like. "Hmm, people don't
Yeah.
like me, sure. Some people will not like me. Some people like me, fine.
Hmm.
Some people love what I do. Some people don't love what I do. That's totally fine. Be with, it's up to you too. But it's up to you to discover with where you want to be. But let's face it. Of course, you want to be with, those who love.
Hmm.
And also, I mean, if people will use their time instead of criticize everything in actually working on something that they're passionate about, man, the world will be like the happiest place ever. You know what I
People are
mean?
just,
Like it's incredible, but like it's
yeah.
incredible like the amount of time that people will sometimes use to destroy instead of
Right.
create, right? The other day I was thinking about like that
Mm-hmm.
is incredible. Like, yeah, that is incredible that how many people will use their time to
Mm-hmm.
actually make you feel bad, you know, and like once you think about that, I'm like I can't believe that somebody wasted their time like to actually trying to hurt me or to send me stuff or to be like that, I mean, I'm flattered somehow, but at the same time, why don't you just go and work on your own? I do think that sometimes those type of messages or critics comes from a place that perhaps they wanted to do something like that too, but because of their something happened in their lives, like whatever
Mm-hmm.
reason, they just thought they were not like worthy to it, and to that they think now that everyone should not do the thing that they at some point wanted to do at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're very bitter about that too.
You know,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
crazy. And tell me, like, what role do you believe storytelling plays in society, and how do you
Mm-hmm.
see actors' role in shaping narratives?
Yeah, we were kind of mentioning before. I love telling people stories. I think that anything, in history is because we're telling people stories, right? And that's what I love so much about the nonfiction side of film and books and all those kinds of things because they're just real and they're authentic. And I've been, dabbling into writing books a little bit as well. And I've been ghostwriting for a friend of mine who's got this really incredible life story and helping him to put like everything that's happened to him on paper and just fabricate, not fabricate, but just pull his own emotion and thought out and communicate it to people. Um, storytelling is just, it's massive and it's the only thing that's going to be around when we're gone is your story, right? And are you putting that out there or not? You don't have to have, been Oppenheimer and creating the atomic bomb or something. But, I think that everyone should be at some point in their life, portraying their story and documenting it if they can. And I think that a lot of people don't really think that they have an important story to tell. And that's a lot of where I really enjoy connecting with someone on. Like,
Yeah.
people aren't, you know, recognized or affirmed or just, you know, acknowledged. And being acknowledged is a really big deal in creating a relationship with people and being a part of each other's lives and acknowledging someone's stories incredible. And if you can portray someone else's character in their life as an actor, um, you get to see such intimate details in their life and in their mind and into their experiences. It's an honor, I feel. Like if someone was portraying me in my life in a movie or in a story, um, I mean, of course I would be so excited about that. That would be an honor for me as well to be portrayed. So to be able to do that for someone else, I think is a really, really neat thing that a lot of actors have had some incredible things. I love the music biopic movies that they're making, with Bohemian Rhapsody, and Dirt was really good with the Motley Crue story. And I loved Rocket Man with Elton
Hmm.
John's portrayal.
Hmm.
Um, so I really, really love those stories. And because they are such extreme creators and extreme personalities and their lifestyles and everything, that can be very tricky to portray, I'm sure. But those actors just totally nailed it for me. I love those stories.
Yeah. I mean, at the end, every story deserves to be told,
Yeah, absolutely.
you
Yeah.
know? Yeah. I like it.
Yeah,
I
me too.
love
Yeah.
it. That is incredible. And you know what? My last question. So we can all
Yeah.
enjoy and relax after a couple of difficult, amazing, badass questions. Here it is. What do you think that would be the best title for this episode?
Oh, that's a really tough question. Oh boy. Well, I feel like this is kind of me every day. I'm very conversational. I'm very open about things in my life that have happened. with my experiences and with what I do as well. You can't really be scared to put yourself out there and think you're going to be an actor or a model or performer in any way, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's just an authentic conversation that I feel like I'm having with a friend. Like it's very much, just natural to me. But we're also have an opportunity to talk about something that not a lot of people get to do in their life, right? And I would say something, along the lines of potentially like authentically acting, which sounds like what do they call it? An oxymoron. It can almost be like two opposites because acting can seem really inauthentic, right? Sometimes. I don't know. That's up to you. That is totally your boat.
What do you think about authentic conversations?
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah.
Or let's see. Or
conversations in creating or something. Or...
Conversations in creating. Yeah, I'll take that too.
Yeah.
Or creating with Shyla.
There you go. Yeah.
It sounds like a tutorial of something, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Those are all good.
Or creating and there you go. Inspiring conversations with Shyla.
There you go.
Like, what do you think?
I like any one of them. Yep.
Okay, so let's leave it with. What was the one that you mentioned before?
The first one? I said authentically acting.
Authentically acting.
Or authentic creation.
Or authentic. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, authentic acting sounds catchy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take that.
Okay.
I love it. I mean, at the end, what can I say? The fact that you're doing it. The fact that you're pursuing something that makes you happy, that you're passionate about, and the fact that you are showing results. I mean, I think that's proof enough for everyone to be like, you know what, it is possible. I mean, I do think that sometimes, right, and also like the media itself will portray like this image that it is not possible for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you have overcome so many stuff and keep working on it, and keep doing like your best to it. I mean, I think that is that's super badass for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But also it shows to everyone around to be like, if she could do it, I could do it too. It doesn't matter like where you're from or things like that. Everything is possible, but of course you need to put the work to it, and you're making it happen. And I'm super sure that our next conversation would be about the multiple thousands projects you've been in. I mean, even awards too. And who knows, maybe your own action figure at some point.
That would be cool. Yeah, absolutely. I'm down for that.
That would be badass, right? Yeah. So yeah, that is incredible. Keep doing what you do. Keep shining what you do. I also want to thank those who stayed this whole episode. Thank you so much. Now, in the description below, as I said, you're going to find all of Shyla's social media. Now, because we discovered why she's super badass, now let's make her viral. # Team Shyla. She's incredible. And again, thank you so much for making this happen. Keep rocking out there. Keep shining. Keep inspiring. And I'll see you in the next one.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dan.
All right.